Welcome. I hope you're having a great day. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. This week I caught a cold, but the upside to catching a cold is that I got to play some more Magic. So every week I go through and discuss my favorite decks of the week, all in Standard. And to start things off here, we've got a budget Selesnya Toxic deck list from J2S Josh. And this one is, we've seen, I had a video that was the top 8 budget decks, and Selesnya Toxic was one of them. So this is this was for the Midweek Magic Challenge this week, which was, you had to play a list that was just from a specific window in time. And so it lent itself really nicely to this because all of these cards are from the set Phyrexia All Will Be One. And so the list is pretty much like the one in the budget list, except for it's not running the 2 Flincing Raptors, and instead is running 4 Branch Blight Stalkers to give you a little bit more of that like early pressure. And then it's not running 4 of the Charge of the Mites, and it doesn't have 4 Tyvar's Stands either. So, and instead of that, we're running 4 Ossifications and 2 Prosthetic Injectors. And when I played this, I thought it worked pretty well. I thought the Charge of the Mites was often awkward in the budget list, so I liked that change. I did kind of miss the Tyvar's Stand, though. The 1-cost hexproof can be really nice for protecting your things. And I wasn't really sold on Prosthetic Injector. There were a couple of matchups where the additional Toxic 1 was nice going wide. I can kind of see where they're going with it, but give it a shot, see if it's your thing. See if you like it more than the other budget list. It's just a different way to take that deck. Okay, so the number 2 list of the week is Azorius Soldiers by Thaism, who got first place in the Standard Challenge on September 30th, and Hamuda, who got first place on October 1st. So I believe this is Thaism's list. I think actually they were both running the same list. Yeah, I think they were. So Hamuda and Thaism were both running this Azorius Soldiers list, which is a best of 3 list. It's very similar to the list that we saw in Worlds by Simon Nielsen that won 3rd place. So we have 4 Knight Errant of Eos. We have 4 Wedding Announcement to basically just go wide and then win through Harbin. And then we've got the Lunarch Veteran, which is a really good tech against mono red. Gives you some life gain, helps you stabilize. And then we've got some Make Disappear, which is particularly handy against the board wipes in Azorius Control or Domain Ramp. Basically, you use this to get rid of your opponent's Sunfalls. And so compared to the list in Worlds, this is not running the Regal Bunnycorn, and instead is running 3 copies of the Werefox Bodyguard to help remove problematic threats. And then we've got decreased by 1 on the Yoshin Frontliner. I believe the Worlds was running 2. And then we've got an additional counterspell with Protect the Negotiators, really to try to protect against the board wipes. And because it is a best of 3 list, I've been requested to at least cover what's in the best of 3. And this is where the deck by Thaism and the deck by Hamuda, they vary a little bit. But both are, you got Elspeth Smite, Destroy Evil, Lantern Flare, Wandering Emperor, March of Otherworldly Light, Destroy Evil, 3 more Protect the Negotiators if you are full on against Control in best of 3. Takashia's Welcome, which is an alternative, an interesting way if you need to get some more like mid-range value off of draw, and then 1 Virtue of Loyalty. Okay, deck number 3 is Esper Midrange, which won 2nd place by Arianne on September 30th in the Standard Showcase, and then also Gracias Portanto got 2nd place on October 1st with a list that was nearly identical except for the sideboards. So with this one is very similar to Kasune Kosaka, who won, or who competed in Worlds playing Esper Midrange. But there's a couple of changes here. So my notes are way wrong on this one. So we've got the Dinnick and Rafine combo and Shieldred. Rafine is just amazing when you have Shieldred. If you have any form of board presence, it can just trigger so much life gain that it's absolutely ridiculous. And the biggest change here is the... Oh, am I on the wrong week? No. So the two destroy evils. So they're running two destroy evils instead of the cut downs. So they cut the cut downs for the destroy evils. And other than that, though, we've got like go for the throat, make disappear, just kind of your classic like Esper mid-range threats. And then virtue of loyalty to go big in the mid game. And then the sideboard has the cut downs that you could bring in: 3 Kaidos, Elspeth Smite, Destroy Evil, Disdainful Strokes, Negate, and the Glistening Deluge. So you'll notice that both the sideboards had the Glistening Deluge, which I think is a good response. After Worlds, you've started to see more and more people leaning into the go wide decks, like I just covered in Azorius Soldiers, and so being able to give everything a board wipe has been a pretty good sideboard to include. So keep your eye on that if you are in best of 3. All right, so deck number 4 of the week is Esper Control by Glacier 7. This one was a list that hit Mythic and caught my attention, and it is also a best of 3 list. It's running 3 Make Disappear, 2 Dissipates, 3 Cut Downs, 2 Go for the Throats, 4 Wandering Emperors, which of course, right? 2 Sunfalls, and 2 Farewells, 4 Memory Deluges, 2 Quick Studies, and so very much like the Azorius control, but then you're adding black for even better removal, right? And then the sideboard has the 4th copy of the Cut Down, Dinnick's, 2 Chromehose Seed Sharks, Shieldred, Destroy Evil, Disdainful Stroke, Anoint with Affliction, Siphon Insight, Temporary Lockdown, which is also a really good one to keep in mind if you are facing a whole bunch of those soldier decks, and then an additional copy of Sunfall. Okay, the 5th one is Boros Tokens by Sapoa. This is also a list that I saw recently hit Mythic, and is also a best of 3 list. And we've got... I bumped into this a couple of times in best of 1 as well, starting to see more of this. So the whole point is to play your enablers like Resolute Reinforcements and Gleeful Demolition, and take advantage of spamming the board so that you can play like Raging Battle Mouse that helps you get multiple cards down onto the battlefield as well, and then Charming Scoundrel. You can use this to create a treasure token. You're just really trying to go wide. You want to play as many, like, you don't usually do this one with the Wicked Roll, you're usually doing this just to go wide as possible so that you can slam down a Recruiter, and each one of your little 1/1s then becomes a 2/1, and you hit for a massive amount of damage incredibly quickly. So this is a pretty fun one. And then if that's not enough to make you win, you've got a Regal Bunnycorn, which can just be absolutely gigantic. And then you've got Knight Errant of Eos for additional dig. And then the best of 3 sideboard has Lithomantic Barrage, Torch the Towers, Witchstalker Frenzies, 3 copies of Lithomantic Barrage, 4 copies of Invasion of Gobakon, and then 2 Twisted Fealties. So definitely excited to check this one out. I think there's a really good best of 1 deck in this list. The 6th deck of the week that caught my attention was the Mono White Humans deck from Untapped. So if you do not know about Untapped, it's an amazing tracker. I do not get paid by Untapped or anything like that. I just have really been impressed with it. It also comes with some advice from LSV about what cards to draft, and it's better than nothing. I don't know if I give it like the 100% thumbs up, but it also has like a draftsmith and things like that. But anyway, it also has a breakdown of the meta that looks over thousands of games. And so earlier this week, when I looked at it for Mono White Humans was the top performing archetype, and this was the top performing deck with over 1,000 wins. That wasn't just identical to the one that I've done months ago. So the one that I did, you can look back in the standard showcase, doesn't have any new cards from Wilds of Eldraine. That one is still performing better than all the rest. But I wanted to try this one out, and it's pretty similar. It's very, it's still centered around the Coppercoat Vanguard Thalia combo, but then it's got Spellbook Vendor, and it's a thing that you can bring back with the Extraction Specialist. And I like this build. It's done pretty well against mono red. And since I was sick this week, I actually decided to take a sneak peek on whether or not Untapped was right about the top performing card. And so later this week, you guys will see a showcase of 50 matches of this deck. And so this week will be a double feature. And let's see what else. It's got one Virtue of Loyalty, which has been fine. It's been kind of a little bit random, but it's okay. The other thing too is that it just completely ditches the ossification plan. So it's -4 ossifications, -2 lay down arms. So we're just going like Cathars and Anointed Peacekeepers are our interaction. Running only one Agonjo. I believe the list before was running 2, and 2 Mishra's Foundries instead of 4. And then for that, we're adding 1 more Plains, 2 Skrelvs, which is nice for our opponent's interaction, an additional Adeline, 2 Anointed Peacekeepers, and then 4 Brutal Cathars. So, top performing list, and I hope you guys will enjoy seeing that one later. The 7th deck of the week is Reed Duke's Domain Ramp deck from Worlds. 100%. They just took the best of 3 list. They just took the main board. They didn't make any substitutions, and they just ran with it. And this was the second or third. It kind of fluctuated throughout the week. Top performing deck according to Untapped on the Bronze to Mythic setting, and which I find kind of amusing, because I think that against mono red, having the Virtue of Persistence at 4 has been really useful, and I have not been really wishing that I had the Up the Beanstalk for additional value. So that's the one that was showcased earlier this week, and so I'll be curious to see if the community does end up voting on this one, if the substitutions that I made were actually good or not. That's always kind of a fun time to go back and check it. And if I can remember correctly, I do believe that it is -1 Go for the Throat and -1 Virtue of Persistence for the 2 Up the Beanstalks. So the version that I'm running this week is 2 Beanstalks down, 1 more Go for the Throat, and 1 more Virtue Persistence to try to up its strength against mono red. And the final deck of the week is Mono Red Aggro. And I feel like Mono Red Aggro is the most common deck in the best of 1 ladder. Its prevalence is like, I feel like over 20% of my matches have just been against mono red. And but it's still always a fun quest to figure out what the best version of the best of 1 mono red deck is, and to see if we can figure it out before Untapped does. But so far, I think we haven't quite hit what feels like the most optimal build to me. And so this one is also from Untapped, has over 1,000 games, had the highest win rate while I was looking at it. I think it dropped later this week. But this one is doing it's got 4 Phoenix Chicks. So instead of 2, we're going up to 4. We've got 4 Godric's instead of 3, which I like that change. And then we've gotten rid of the Nahiri's Warcrafting, which feels pretty good because we're not bumping into Shieldred all that often. Strangely, this build has -4 lightning strikes, which I would not have seen coming. That would not have been my cut. But -4 lightning strikes, and we're going +1 monstrous rage for a total of 4. We've dropped the Mishra's Foundries entirely, and we're running 3 copies of Twisted Fealty, which I think is an interesting addition. Curious to see how that plays out. We've +3 Felden, so a total of 4, and a -1 Bloodthirsty Adversary. We're finally down to 20 lands. So this would be my next one if you guys want me to continue to explore mono red. So thank you for following, or thank you for making it to the end of the video, and sorry about the head cold and everything. I hope you liked the deck lists of the week, and if you have one that you think should have made the list, or one that is a favorite that you'd like to be showcased next week, you can always leave the deck list in the comments below, or hit me up on Discord. And remember to hit like and subscribe. I post weekly Magic the Gathering content, sometimes limited, mostly limited, sometimes standard, and I hope you guys are all enjoying the set as much as I am, and maybe I'll see you on the ladder.